Right. So, firstly, I think walls create divisions, exclusion, and separation. It's normally to keep a certain group, normally a minority, safe from a multitude, people out there. But the thing is, simultaneously, it also creates fear for the people who are trying to separate themselves from the multitude. They say that walls are ineffective. I've recently read an article where they talked about that, saying that walls are actually ineffective nowadays, and it maybe used to be effective in the Middle Ages, but nowadays it really isn't. But I must say, I lived in Berlin in 1986 and 87, and the wall was pretty much there. And I delivered newspapers at the time. I was 18 years old. I was very young, and it had an immense psychological impact. So one may think that it's maybe ineffective, but psychologically it's very effective. It really feels depressing. You really feel separated from the outside society. Maybe it was because I was living so close to the wall, I'm not sure, but that is how I experienced it. In my personal experience in South Africa, I feel that, we didn't really have, during apartheid, there weren't really walls up to keep people out. But I would certainly talk about the architecture of apartheid. That was certainly something that was very evident. Actually, for me, later on as an adult, I started understanding about the psychology of that. So the truth is, when I came as a young adult, 18 years old, to Europe, and especially in Berlin, I became politically educated. I mean, that's where I started understanding things, and that's also where I, for the first time, heard about someone like Nelson Mandela. I mean, nowadays I talk to students in South Africa, and I say that when I was a child, I just didn't know who Nelson Mandela was. And there are some black students that come up to me and they say they absolutely refuse it. They cannot believe that somebody didn't know who Nelson Mandela was when he or she was a child in South Africa. And I say, well, censorship does that. The one thing, just a note of interest that about my work that I have up in the gallery downstairs. What is interesting is that a year or two after I left Berlin, I saw the movie by Wim Wenders, Wings of Desire. And there were sections of the wall in which some of these main characters were standing and talking to each other, which I just found amazing, that, ones that I included in the piece downstairs. So that film obviously made quite an impression on me when I was younger.